What's up, my fellow emo, pop punk, metalcore music lovers? Matrix here, and you are locked into the Matrix Music Review Podcast, the only place to get your alt-rock scene music fix and the best place to discover your new favorite band. We are back with another review episode today. We got 5 albums/EPs to talk about, with one of them being one of my favorite albums of the year so far, and it may be one that will surprise you. If you've been listening for a while, you know that my taste is a little different than others, so hearing that this album is one of my favorites might surprise you. As always, the link to everything you need is in the description of this episode. Matrix Music Review on all social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Matrix Music Review. Instagram's where I'm the most active, where I'm posting just about every day whenever there's a new tour announcement. If we have something interesting happening in the news, I will repost it over there. And that's the best way to get in touch with me if you want to send me something to review, send me an artist to check out, or let me know about a tour that's coming around. If you're listening on Apple Music or Spotify, leave a 5-star review, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know how I'm doing. And as I've been saying for the past few episodes, head on over to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's bump those subscriber numbers up so that we can start putting out some more video content for everybody. Maybe some interviews, maybe some show performances, whatever it may be. We'll see what happens, but let's get some subscribers over there so we can put some more content out on YouTube. With that, we're jumping right into our reviews, with the first one being Motion Blur by Split Chain. So this is Split Chain's first official album, and they have a very unique sound. They have a little bit of a nu metal sound. They're a little gazy. They've got a little bit of punkish core to them. They don't really have any one particular genre that they fit. They kind of just blend everything together. And this album starts with a song called Under the Wire, which almost sounds like a PS1 startup sound to me. I don't know why that is the comparison that I drew, but for whatever reason, that is where my head went right away when I heard that instrumental. There's also a really sick instrumental at the end of this track, so when we get something like that right off the bat, I'm automatically intrigued. The vocals throughout this album are one of the better pieces of this album, and it's the way that the vocals are delivered on lines like, "You say the way I drown, I deserve," or "I'm bored, you're tired, I'm torn." They all leave this very catchy feeling behind. And specifically that last one was released as a single, and you always just find yourself singing that little line of "I'm bored, you're tired, I'm torn." And when artists are able to, and specifically bands in this scene are able to come up with something that catchy that automatically is stuck in your head as an earworm, it's something that's always going to bring me back to it and always have my attention coming back to it. And the flow on this album's good too. You know, we have a flow from one song to "I'm Not Dying to Be Here," which is all about feeling distant and someone being a pretender, but at the end you still just want that person to call you, and you're just dying to be there, and you're dying to be here for them. And something all of us can relate to, something everyone can relate to. And as I was going through this album and listening to it, 1, 2, 3 times before I came up with an official review, I was noticing that it was very much like my experience with Thornhill's album earlier this year. Because this is not an album that's a one and done. This is one that you got to check out multiple times to really catch everything and every little intricate detail that Split Chain is putting into this album. And it's all worth it. Every listen is worth it. Every listen is going to introduce you to a new part of this band and really showcase what they have to offer. And it's not just flow, it's not just lyricism. You have tracks like Who I Am, which is a very introspective track that asks, who I am picking apart the best of me? Or who am I picking apart the best of me? They're asking that question of themselves. And between a life of mediocrity, all I ever want to be. So when you have those kind of introspective thoughts where we're asking who I am, who am I to be picking apart the best of me, and do I have to choose between a life of mediocrity and all I ever want to be? That is another situation where we don't always get those introspective tracks with some of the more mid-tempo instrumentals delivered behind it. A lot of times when we get bands giving us those introspective tracks, we get a little bit of a lower tempo, and there are some lower tempo tracks on here, but it's nice with this band where they don't stray too far from what makes them them. And so that mid-tempo is really their sweet spot instrumentally. And so delivering that with a track like Who Am I is really important because it doesn't feel like a stray from the path almost. And then towards the end, we get a track like Space in Between, which is another super catchy earworm track where it's hard not to find yourself singing Remember, December, and following it in their style. And so overall, this really was a super solid debut. And I'm really excited to see this. I'm really excited to see what Split Chain can deliver in a live show. I think they are coming to my area towards the fall time, so I'm excited to see how this translates live, especially with this being a little bit more on the gazy side sound-wise. I've never really had the chance to check out one band that has been, heavy into that, but I'm interested to see, and this is a really solid debut. This is about an 8.5 out of 10 for me, so if you haven't checked it out yet, go check out Motion Blur by Split Chain. Next up, we got Shade by Resider. This is the metalcore band's new EP, and they punch you right out of the gate with Death Adder, where they're asking, are you numb to pain that you cause? And they hit you with a heavy breakdown at about 2:31 in this track. So when you get punched immediately out the gate of a 4 or 5 track EP, you know that something special is coming. And you can definitely hear the nu metal influence with this band, but there's also a mixture of metalcore in there. And a track like Ishimura really kind of checks all those boxes where you get a little bit of nu metal, a little bit of metalcore, and they all kind of blend together really well. And I don't have much off of this EP that I want to talk about, but there's just this aggression and edge to Resider that I felt like I really needed to mention. And I think that's really going to resonate with a lot of people that listen to this podcast, that listen to some of the heavier sides of things. Even some of the metalcore sides, I can't put my finger on it, but there really is just this aggression to what Resider is doing. And this short little EP with Death Adder and Ishimura really kind of gives you that introduction and will definitely blow you away. I think this is a band that definitely needs to be on everybody's radar if it isn't already. So this is a 4 out of 5 for me for EP, a great introduction. And I'm excited to see where they go from here. So if you haven't heard it yet, go check out Shade from Resider. Next up, we have Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother by Psychoframe. This is the first full album from the deathcore band known as Psychoframe, and holy fuck, this album. I should have known by the album title and the song titles that this would just be an intense, wild, crazy ride of an album, but I don't know that I expected to enjoy it as much as I did, because this album starts with the most unbelievable growl, gurgle, the most fucked up thing that I've ever heard to start an album. And again, when you have a song title like Blueprints for Idle Genocide, I don't know what I was expecting. I should have probably expected something along those lines, but we get all kinds of things in this song. We get lines that say, chew your teeth and swim in shit from the loser circle. We get the, you, where's my hug thinking motherfucker. Like, these are all things that I am not expecting to hear in the first album. let alone hear them screamed in a deathcore song. And the gurgles and the heaviness and the darkness. I mean, there is another, what I'm considering a gurgle, growl, scream after brain rot headshot that is just unbelievable. I mean, the talent to be able to do that is just out of this world. And there's so many wild lines throughout this album that just kind of stop you in your tracks. Whether it's a line in Inverted Spear where it says, "It's a shrine of bones and gore where you can mince this carcass and ground it to shit." Or whether it's in a track like Endless Agonal Devotion where it says, "It's a mausoleum filled with your friends, buried in my clarity, and it's consistent with removing our heads." Or another track like Filleted and Fucked where it says, "Your brain was created from nothing but the mindless bite of idiots." This is easily the heaviest album that I have reviewed all year. This is easily one of the heaviest albums I've ever heard, period. But for me, I love this. This is a nice change of pace for me. I feel like I was definitely in the pop punk summer, and listening to this definitely shook me out of it and got me into more of the fall season that's about to come in. And the growls and the gurgles and the like screams that have this different sound and different texture to them. And I say texture because it's like you can feel it. You can just feel the sound that's coming through the headphones. And it's really what's going to send this album as a shockwave through the scene. I really do think that if people haven't listened to this yet, or they go and listen to this yet, they're going to literally have no other choice but to notice Psycho Frame or just get the fuck out of the way, because this band is coming and they are coming fast with this album. And there's a power that is in songs like I Won't Be There to Watch You Go that is just really incredible, because you get lines like, "You're a lying junkie that's going to die alone, but you're in pain because they won't listen." And, you know, pain is clear in this track. And no matter how heavy it is, or no matter how open you are with a person, in a song like this with that type of subject matter where it's talking about someone being a junkie and dying alone, you're talking about someone that is selfishly continuing their ways no matter how open you have been with them. But no matter how many times I talk about lines and tracks and lines in this album, I still find myself coming back to those vocal moments, whether they're growls, snarls, but the squeal in Filleted and Fucked is crazy too. It's not just one specific thing that they're doing extremely well. It's all of the different deliveries that they're doing. And honestly, this is one of my favorite albums to sit through all year long because it was so worth the dissection. And I feel like with this album, you kind of peel back the layers of each track and you find a new little piece each time, you know, and dissection really, I feel like, is kind of an appropriate word for this type of an album. I mean, the album artwork alone looks like some sort of dissection. And I don't know, it's just something about this heaviness from Psycho Frame that I just found myself consistently wanting to go and restart with Blueprints and restart with Filleted, and I just find myself going back to over and over and over again that I normally wouldn't do with a heavy album, let alone a deathcore album. I may do this with a metalcore album, but I'm not usually a person that's going to gravitate towards a deathcore album in this way. So for me, this album was a 10 out of 10. I cannot believe that I'm saying that. It has completely blown me away. I think this is an album that's really going to blow up in the scene, especially as it gets more recognition and as Psycho Frame gets out there more. this is going to be a band that may be the next big thing in heavy music. So 10 out of 10 album for me. If you have not heard it yet, go check out Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother by Psycho Frame. Next up, we got Genesis Part 2, the new EP from Oni. This is the second EP this year. I don't think I reviewed the first EP on any pods, but either way, this is a Canadian metalcore project that follows 3 albums previously. And What I've Become is a perfect track to start this all off. And it really gives you an introduction to the sound and style of this band, which shows that blend of heavy breakdowns with some of the more classic melodic metalcore that we've come to kind of expect from this band. But what makes this band Oni interesting is that there's some electronic production that's always in the backtracking on a song like Reset that really does add to it. It's very subtle. It doesn't overpower it. It doesn't detract from the vocals or some of the heavy instrumentation with the electric guitars behind it. And I do feel like that happens sometimes when bands try to introduce some electronic backing in their tracks, is that it takes away from the musicianship that's being done. But not in this case. I feel like it really does add a specific something to this EP and these tracks. One of the pre-choruses that I love here is there's a line that says, "I'm tortured and violent as you are, healing a broken heart." And for me, that's just a really effective way to say that you're in pain and having a broken heart, but it just feels a little bit more aggressive. It feels a little bit more metal, a little bit more hard. And one thing about this EP is that most of these tracks that have breakdowns, the breakdowns are almost so overpowering that they make it like they're mini add-ins to the tracks. Specifically like 225 of Float. It's only like 10 seconds long, but it feels like a completely different track and something that has just been added in that just is a strong addition that maybe you wouldn't expect. Retribution feels like the heaviest vocally, but it still kind of fits the project, which for me was an overall success. For a second EP this year, I think this is a solid 4 out of 5 for Oni. I think this is a band a lot of people may like as well. And so if you haven't heard it yet, go check out Genesis Part 2 by Oni. And the last EP is Rip My Heart Out by Census. Their Spotify profile says that they are melancholy melody, and that's pretty spot on for what I would consider this genre to be. They are melancholy melodic music where you are going to get every part of that. This is their first EP. I love the album art. It's pretty sick to stare at. And the screams in this are a real unique vocal delivery as well. They feel a little staticky almost, which is a perfect fit. And they always fit into whatever track or whatever section of a track that they're doing perfectly, which is awesome. I always love to hear a unique scream, a unique squeal, something that's a little different that's going to separate a band from the rest of the pack. And on this EP, you have a song called Insatiable Me, which builds from almost no instrumentation to the finality of everything is as sensational as you, and you're insatiable to me. And that's a fun track to listen to, but to me, Spiral feels like a hit, whether it's at the streaming level, and it would fit on just about any playlist that could be out there, whether it's a metalcore playlist, a pop punk playlist, a top hits playlist. I feel like Spiral really could be that track for Census that takes off. But for me, my favorite is Night Waves. It's got lines in it like, I want to know if it's worth it when I fall apart. And it builds until you get, it will be worth it. And then it kind of gives you that little, if fate gives me a reason to stay. And that's why Night Waves for me is my top track. You get those builds, you get the lyrics, you get the sound. It all blends perfect. and kind of summarizes what this EP is. This first debut is very strong, and Census to me really kind of fits the trend that we see of bands that kind of just pop up a little bit out of nowhere, but they always end up having a really great sound. Think about Colorblind, think about True North. In that realm, that's exactly where Census falls. For me, this is a 4.5 out of 5 on this EP. If you haven't heard it yet, go check out Rip My Heart Out by Census. That wraps it up for us here on Matrix Music Review. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Plenty of new music in this episode, bands that you may not have heard of, but hopefully they're your new favorite band. That's one of my goals here, is to introduce you to your new favorite band, so hopefully one of these bands becomes that. As always, links for everything you need are in the description of this episode. Give a follow at Matrix Music Review on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Head on over to Spotify and like the Control-Alt-Save 25 playlist. You can hear all the songs that I'm talking about, all the songs that I'm listening to, whether they've been mentioned on the podcast or not. And make sure if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, you leave a 5-star review. Head over to YouTube, subscribe there, all the fun stuff. And I will see you guys next time with more reviews, more music, and introducing you to your new favorite band. See you next time.